All right, once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar tonight. This is John Juliana, and joining me tonight is Greg Flaspohler, who is with DocShop Pro. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to improve your practice's profitability with DocShop Pro, the new and exciting e-commerce platform. And Greg is going to show you how that platform can help you save lots of money on your medical supplies and your capital equipment. Greg, if you'll just advance the slide for me, I'm going to just go over a bit of housekeeping before we get started. Everyone tonight is in a listen-only mode, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunity to ask questions. Simply type the questions into the GoToWebinar pane, and we'll be answering those questions towards the end of tonight's webinar. Also, this webinar is going to be recorded. It's going to be distributed so that you'll each have the opportunity to view it again at your leisure. And Craig, if you'll just one more advance, I'd like to just give a little bit of a preface before I hand the baton over to you. You know, as a consultant that's been around for many years helping podiatry practices, I really want you to understand before Greg gets started this whole idea of profitability of your podiatry practice and how profitability really has two sides to the equation. Naturally, it has your revenue side, but it also has your cost side, your expense side. And you could increase your profitability by either increasing your revenues or by decreasing your expenses. The fact is you have twice the leverage of increasing your profitability when you focus on your costs and expenses. And by that I mean, if you try to increase your profitability by increasing your revenues, for every dollar of revenue that you increase, you literally will only capitalize on about 50 cents of that dollar towards your profitability. Naturally, that's because about 50%, if not more, goes to your overhead. But when you save a dollar in expenses, you literally drop that dollar right to your bottom line. Dollar for dollar goes right to your profitability. So that's why we say that you have twice the leverage of improving your profitability by focusing on cost as opposed to revenue. Now, one of the main costs of a podiatry practice, my bet is it's probably number 2 or number 3 on your profit and loss statement in terms of your costs, is your medical supplies. Your medical supplies are up there as one of your major costs. DocShop Pro leverages the purchasing power of 2,000 podiatrists to get you discounted costs on your medical supplies and capital equipment. And Greg, I'm going to just pass it over to you so that you could show the audience how that works.
Thank you. Sounds good. Yeah, thank you, John, and thank you for everyone for joining. So we'll jump right in here and get to what we're going to cover today. So like John said, we have a website that allows you to view products and pricing, and we get that pricing down for the 2,000 plus members that are on our website. So in order to view the pricing, you just have to register for free access. And then once you're in, you can compare pricing on the products you're already using. You can create product lists for your practice specific to you. And we're going to show you how to manage and modify those product lists at any time. And this allows you to manage your inventory through our inventory management function. And at any point in time, you can always compare prices yourself, but you can always obtain a free cost analysis that'll be custom to your practice. You just make the request with us, and then later in the deck, I'll be showing you how we put that together and what that report would look like. So you might be thinking, why should we consider DocShop Pro? So great question. It's one-stop shopping is one of the things that sets us apart with working all the different vendors and manufacturers. We put it all on one easy-to-use website. This allows you to get cross-comparison pricing and shopping across the board. So our inventory control and inventory management features are unique with the My Supply Manager, where we're going to show you how to create custom lists specific to you and the products you're using. And then that leads into the inventory management feature. So this also helps with protocol standardization and vendor consolidation to help offset employee turnover. So we know that when staff changes, sometimes that can make things complicated. Our system helps to make it so that when the staff changes, your order processing doesn't have to. And again, with DocShop Pro, everybody gets the same low prices for all the members. So it's everyday low pricing across the board, no membership fees, it's all flat rate. Everybody pays the same price. We negotiate it out as low as it can be and then pass those savings along to all the members of our site. So when we're done, there's a couple of things we want to have you guys be able to do, which is utilize the website, of course, for your practice, specifically in using product lists as part of the My Supply Manager to stay organized. And that's kind of a key step in the inventory management feature. And then, of course, be able to show you how to get that free cost analysis as well, helping you consolidate your supply chain and purchase the supplies that you need. So first things first, just like any other website, you'll want to get there, which for us is DocShopPro.com. Type that into your web browser. And then from there, and again, in order to actually see the pricing, we can't advertise it to the public. We can only show it to our members. So all you have to do is just register to become a member. And again, it's free, so you just click that register or login button. And from there, you're going to be taken to the registration page. Just click that button at the green arrow. And then, of course, here on the registration page, you're going to fill out your information. Name of your practice, contact information, email, phone number. It's important on this to pick an email that you'll either be checking yourself or that a member of your staff, maybe someone helps with ordering. We want to make sure that that email address is one for someone that's going to be actually using the website so that they can actually get the emails, confirmation of orders. And that email address is also going to be your login for the website itself. That can all be changed later, of course, but on this first time when you go through the registration, we want to make sure we have the best contact info for you. And looks like we're getting a question here. So yeah, on this form, you can request, say if Dr. Smith wants access to the site, but we should speak with Bill on ordering. Maybe Bill's the office manager. You could put that into the note on the very bottom of this page. So if you wanted to have multiple people, you go into the field of how did you hear about DocShop Pro. That last one on this page is a free form. So you could actually write a little note in there about who we should speak to. Good question on that. So once we get that registration request, we'll of course create some account credentials for you, and then we'll reach out to you with those so that you can log in. You would just put that into the login fields, hit the login button, and of course now you're logged in. So whenever you log into DocShop Pro, you're going to be taken to what we call the My Dashboard. So here, this is kind of the landing page. When you first log in, just like any other website, you're going to see history with your address book, account information, your orders. You can also see your My Supply Manager. So that's that link at the green arrow there. And again, that's a big focus of what we're going to talk about today is how to utilize that to keep yourself organized on the products you're wanting to find and use on the website. So let's say you wanted to go ahead and browse some products. The main way that a lot of people will do things kind of this first time, and as you're looking for certain categories, just like an actual paper catalog, which everybody probably has some of those floating around the office for different supplies. Up in the top left corner, you have that Browse Product Catalog button. So from there, it's a drop down, and it's going to be, again, just like a product catalog. You would say we wanted to search for night splints. We see the durable medical equipment drop down. And then from there, at the green arrow, we could click on night splints. So you could browse these products for browse the products yourself by using the catalog. You can also use the search button up on top where it says search for medical supplies in white next to the search button. You could, of course, put night splint in there and do a search. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail later. But again, you can also do a cost analysis. So you would request whoever is reaches out to you with your login credentials, that'll be your account manager, and you can reach back out to them and say, hey, I think I want to go ahead and do the cost analysis. I browsed for a couple products. I like the pricing that I saw. I don't have time to do all this myself. I'm hoping that you guys at DocShop Pro can help me with that. So that's exactly what we're here for. You could reach out and we'd be happy to get started. So we'll go through how to do that cost analysis here in a little bit. But let's say before you got to that point, you were curious, you log in, you want to see what we can do for you. First things first, you would browse that product catalog. You click the night splints, and this is where it would take you. So again, just like a product catalog, this is going to show you all the different products that fit within that night splints category. So as you can see on the far right on the screen, it's showing that there's 42 items. All of these are categorized as night splints. So you could scroll down through the whole list. You could sort the list. You could sort by name, style, price, manufacturer. You can search in several different ways. Those are obviously the most common. So again, like a product catalog, this feature, when you do the browse by product catalog, it's going to show you the price. So it's going to put all of those products on the screen, give you that pricing right there on the screen, so you can see how everything stacks up against each other, but also against kind of what your current invoices are right now. So like we talked about on the cost analysis, so again, let's say you saw some pricing that you liked, and you said, this looks good. Yeah, I order like 40, 50 things every couple of weeks. I would love to see what you guys can do in doing this legwork for me. Again, that's what we're here for. You would just request a cost analysis in order for us to get started. All we would need is some invoices that have the SKU, short description, and a price. We have about 500,000 products on the website, so we just want to make sure we're finding the exact apples to apples comparison for the products that you're using. So once we have that information, you can fax or email it to us. And we put together the cost analysis. So this screen just kind of gives you the highlights of what you're going to see in that report. And we'll show you a report here in just the next slide. But within that, you're going to see a breakdown on the DocShop Pro price versus the competitor price on the invoices you provided to us. We're going to show you the overall percentage of exact product match. So again, we work with all the major vendors, all the manufacturers, and we're going to show you exactly which products of the ones that you had mentioned were the exact same identical product and manufacturer. We're going to add in any notes if that wasn't the case. So sometimes it might be a generic versus a brand name, or we can also just provide you multiple options for each product. So it's going to also show you the total cost savings to your practice as a percentage. And then once we're done, and this is another key feature of what we can do in the cost analysis process, we're going to load everything on that list, everything on that cost analysis report. We're going to take all of those products and load them into the My Supply Manager for you. So if you send us a list that had 40, 50, 60 products, you'll see the full breakdown. And then when you log into your account, you'll see all of that in the Supply Manager for you, ready to order. So on this slide here, this is a full cost analysis. It's a sample of what the report's going to look like. And again, you'll see that you have a product, the original SKU, the DocShop SKU of the exact product match that we came up with for you, the original price, and then of course our price, all of that broken down into the report. So you'll see on this one, it's kind of hard to read on this screen. Everyone on this will get a copy of the deck afterwards, so you can zoom in and kind of poke around on this a little bit more if you want. But the big takeaway here at the end of the day is if you look down at the green row on the bottom, the total average savings for this particular practice was 36% on all these products. So that's kind of course, the highlight. We'll mention that in the report. You'll be able to see that at the bottom. And then next to that, that last column says 75%. And that's the exact, or that's the identical product match comparison. So 75% of all the products on this list, what we found is the identical product and manufacturer for you on our website. So from a practice perspective, you're using the same products you've already been using. We're going to make the ordering process simplified for you in working with us. And you're going to get all those same products On some of the other ones, these are going to be either a generic or brand name or competitor versus someone else. So it might be More brand versus Dynarex brand. But as you can see in the notes, we put in there that it's an identical product with identical product specs, just a different manufacturer. And on this, another common question is we can give you options. So we can find you the identical product and manufacturer, and we can also give you a couple options on a generic if that was something you were interested in too. So you've compared prices, now what? So whether you found some pricing yourself, or we did this cost analysis for you and loaded it into your supply manager, let's say that you wanted to kind of continue browsing products or maybe add some more things to it. So you would log into your account. Again, this is your landing page, your dashboard. It's going to take you to that link you can click on in the green for the green arrow to My Supply Manager. I also just want to mention real quick before we move on that from wherever you go on the website. So again, we're going to be browsing for products, but once you're looking at those products, you might think, hey, I want to get back to My Supply Manager. I want to look at the whole list. I want to see what I already have in this product category. You can always get back to your My Supply Manager anytime. There's always going to be this link at that green arrow on the left, a header link to the My Supply Manager. And you can also get to it at the very top of the web page under My Account. And there's that drop down that shows My Supply List. So both of those are shortcuts that will always be there, allowing you to get to the My Supply Manager. So bear with me, we're getting another good question here. So you will hear us use the term My Supply List and My Supply Manager. Those are interchangeable in the sense that My Supply List, you can create multiple lists, and all of that's part of your My Supply Manager. So what the My Supply Manager is doing is allowing you to manage multiple supply lists. So good question. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail here coming up, but I just wanted to make you aware that of the multiple ways to get to it. So we're going to create some lists from scratch. You've logged in, you've decided that you want to move forward, you're on the My Supply Manager page, and we're going to create some specific supply lists. So in order to do that, you would just type the name of the list in and then click Create Supply List. So on this next screen, we'll see we've decided to create a list just for all of our DME. We called it DME is what we wrote into the field there. And at the green arrow, we hit Create Supply List. And now in addition to the original supply list of just main supply list, we now have a new tab highlighted in blue there, you'll see, called DME. And I included this slide. I wanted to show you, let's say that you want to change the name of that list. You decided I want to call it DME list rather than DME. You can always rename any supply list at any time. So you would just click the Edit List button there in blue. And then it's going to give you that prompt there of what you want to edit it to. So we want to edit it to be a DME list. We want to rename it as DME list. And then you would just hit the button there at the green arrow to rename it. And it's that simple. You can create and modify the list anytime, as much as you like. Create multiple lists. And you'll see there, again, it's now been renamed. So I wanted to also show you one of the exciting features about the My Supply Manager is how much you can change these supply lists to your individual practice. So you could, of course, have your main supply list. You could create a DME list, an injectables list, but you don't have to name them by product type. You can also name them capital equipment. You could name them as their Dallas office, Fort Worth office, surgery room, exam room 1. You can name these as whatever you want in whatever way it helps keep you organized. A lot of practices might have one specific to the supply closet. Whatever, again, is going to keep it easiest for you to stay organized. So one of the other reasons that the supply closet, I should also mention, is a good name for the list is that you can use the DocShop Pro website on your phone. So you could be in the supply closet, you could pull it up, the DocShop Pro website on your phone, and as you're pulling things out of the supply closet, you could use the DocShop Pro website to update your list and your supply levels right there on the fly. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in some of the following slides, but I wanted to just make you aware that that is one of the functions. So on this next slide here, I wanted to show you this one. You can see this is a supply list for a practice that has multiple offices. So what they've done is they've created a main supply list, and it has all the supplies, hundreds of supplies that they use across the practices, all the different locations. And then each location has created their own tab for the products that they like to use. So at the Anderson, for that tab, you'll see this is where we're at, and this is their product list. One of the neat things about the site too is it's going to show you for each product in your supply list the amount you've ordered year to date. That's the green arrow there. The last order date. Details around the product help with the inventory management function, which we're going to get to here in just a second. But it's neat that you can log in, you can see that, and know exactly where your history is for that particular product. So again, let's go back to finding products. So we've seen our list, we've created some lists, and we want to add more products to those lists. So again, you can browse by product catalog to go up to the top and do the drop downs. Most of the time, once you're familiar with the site, and this is the way I use it myself, I always do the quick search. So on the right there, we would just type splint in or night splint, and we would do a search on that on the far green arrow. And we can just search the products on the fly like that. So we type in night splints, we hit the search button, and the corresponding list will be on the page. So we would just click on whichever splint, we could scroll through, find the one we like. We'll just click that first one there. So this is what's going to pop up. You would pick your size. Now from here, on most of the time, on any time you're doing e-commerce on any other website, you find a product, find what you're looking for, and then you add it to the cart. We actually encourage you, instead of doing that, we encourage you to put it into the supply manager. That way, every single time when you log in, instead of having to find the product from scratch, you would just literally log in, and your supply list is already loaded with all your products. So by clicking one button versus the other, you're making it so that every single time you log in, everything you want is already right there at your fingertips. So right beneath the red add to cart button, instead of that button, you would click the add to supply manager button. So the green arrow there shows you when you click on that, it's going to give you a drop down, and you would just pick which list you want to put the product into. Let's say as you were adding this in, you were going to add it to your DME list. You decide, you know what, I think I'm going to create a list separate or specific to say SureFit. We're going to order a lot of products from SureFit. We think we want to keep all that organized on one tab. You can definitely do that. So instead of clicking on the DME list, you would click to create a new supply list and type the name SureFit. You would just hit select. And now that takes you to the landing of your SureFit supply list. So we got a question there, and actually you were a step ahead of me, and here we are at this page. So this shows you, we had a question about what if you wanted to add it to both lists. So absolutely great question, and you can do that at any time. Once you've added it, say, to the SureFit list, which is where we're at, you could just get to, you could click one of either the copy to or the move to buttons and put it on either list. So it's a very common question, and it's another thing that you'll see is, again, you might have a product on your main supply list, like say if you're looking for lidocaine, you always want it on the main list. Every single location is going to need lidocaine, but maybe you also want it under the injectables supply list, or maybe each location has their own tab and they all want it on their own list as well. So once you're here, you see it on your product list, you would hit copy to, select a list you would want to copy the product over to, and now it's in both lists. So we'll show you how to modify the list a little bit more, but let's add a few more products in. So again, we're going to do the quick search there on the top right. We've typed walkers into the search button. We've hit the search button itself. We've now got a list of walkers to choose from. We're going to select the air track there, the green arrow. We added that to our supply list. And then now here we are on the supply list. Both products are there. So from here, we can start deciding what we want to do with the products on the list. So this is where we're going to start getting into the inventory management. And there might be some questions about that, so feel free to type them into the forum if you have questions come up. So you have a couple different parts of this screen here. So for each product, you can manage an inventory threshold. You can say how many of that product you want in your inventory at all times. So that's the inventory threshold. So on that lower green arrow, it's showing you the box that you would set that threshold at. So let's say for the night split, we always want 3. We always want 3 of this product in size large for our office. So you would type that into the lower green arrow, and then the top green arrow is showing you how many you have in your inventory currently. So let's say right now today you already have 2. You always want to have at least 3. So obviously you need to order at least 1. So you put that into each respective field. And then on the right, you're going to click the Save Changes to Item. So below the Add to Cart button, you have Edit, and then below that is the Save Changes to Item. So now you've set an inventory threshold for how many of those items that you want. Now, because you said you want always to have 3, and you only have 2, you click Save Change, the screen turns red, and it shows that you have low inventory for that product, prompting you as you would first log in, or anybody else from the practice would be logged into your account. They could always log in and just scroll through the supply list to see which products are low inventory. So let's say that we did the same thing for our air track. We said we always want 5 of those. We would click the Save Changes to Item. And now, as you can see, both of them are showing low inventory. So another question. Yep, so another question here is, yes, so as you're going through these lists, you're going to have multiple products on the screen. So each supply list might have 10, 15, 30 products. And so if you're doing your inventory management, as you know, with any website, sometimes the screen is going to refresh. You're going to make a change, the screen will refresh. This has been designed to not do that. So what I mean by that is that you would make a change to the item, and then the screen might show red on low inventory, but the screen itself, the background and all that will stay static. The only thing that will change is whatever number you populated into each field, and if you have low inventory. The screen itself will not reload, will not refresh. You won't have to wait, which is the question. You won't have to wait for it to refresh. It's not going to. It's going to stay just like it is, and it's going to take the inputted data that you put into that field to show that you have low inventory. The screen otherwise stays the same, and you can just run down through the whole entire list at once. Just, again, it's designed to help save you time, so you don't have to wait for the screen to refresh. Another good question. Keep them coming. So you can also create tags. This is another feature. Again, let's say you have multiple practices and Dr. Smith likes air walkers. Maybe Dr. Jones doesn't, Dr. Smith does. We have this Excel air track, and we want to create a tag for it so that of all the products in our DME list, we know which ones are air walkers. We can sort by that. So over there at the right arrow, or the green arrow on the right, we're going to type air walker into the Add Tags field. And then we would click the Add to Tags button, the plus button. So that's going to create a tag for us of air walker. So the green arrow here is showing you where the tags drop down is. So for anything you created a tag, you can sort by it now. from the drop down for your tags. So you'd select how to filter the tags. You want to filter by Air Walker. You click that drop down. And now the green arrows are showing you that you've selected at the top green arrow that you want to view all Air Walkers. Everything tagged as an Air Walker. And the bottom green arrow is showing you that you have created the tag for Air Walker, and that's why it's showing. So another good question here. Yes, you can always, you can create multiple tags. So let's say you wanted to create, again, go into the Dr. Smith example. Dr. Smith likes Air Walkers, so we've created a tag for that. And let's say we also want to create a tag for Sure Fit Air Walker or Short Air Walker. You could create multiple tags. Each one of those would show in the drop-down. And then yes, actually I'll go back here. Yeah, so another question here. So if you wanted to clear those tags, yep, absolutely. You would just click the Clear Tags button beneath the tag sorting drop-down. So that green arrow there where we said we wanted to sort and see all Air Walkers, right below that is a Clear Tags button, that X. So just below the green arrow, the X right there, you would click on that and it would remove all the tags from your filter. So in other words, you would go back to the default view of seeing everything regardless of the tags. It's going to clear all the tags as being what has filtered the view. So, before I move on, I'm also going to mention another kind of related to that. Let's go back to the Brian Smith example, or Dr. Smith. Let's say that Dr. Smith, again, liked the air tracks. We could put that note into that comment section. We could say, Excel air track, Dr. Smith prefers, or however we wanted to phrase that. Dr. Smith prefers Air Walkers. So let's say that someone at the practice starts, they're new, and they hear Dr. Smith say, we need some more walkers, please order some for me. You'll see them in my supply list. That new person on the team could log into the account and they could see either from the tag what's tagged as an Air Walker, or they can also see in the comment section, oh, there you go, these are the ones he's talking about. Dr. Smith says he likes these. Let's go ahead and put some of these into the cart. So speaking of that, we're now set to move products into our cart. So once we go through, we've populated how many we want of each item. Say we know that we have, for the purposes of this demonstration, I put in there that on the My Inventory for each of these products that we have 0 currently. We know we want 5 of the Air Track Walkers, and we know we want 3 of the Night Splints. So at the green arrows there, you see that there's a add to cart quantity. We're going to say 3 of the Night Splints, 5 of the Air Walkers. Instead of adding each one of these to the cart individually, you could do this for your whole product list. So dozens of products all on the screen. You're scrolling down, you're going through them. You're going to pick how many you want of each product, type that into the box, scroll down to the bottom, and you hit the red Add All to Cart button. Clicking that button literally puts every single thing on the screen of however many quantities you've specified. It puts all of that into the cart at one time. So now you are ready to check out. Everything is into your cart by clicking the one button. And then everything you've added in is showing you in green at that banner. So the top arrow there is a banner that's going to pop up. It's going to show you that those are the products you've just added into your cart. It's going to prompt you on the screen if you want to view your cart, if you want to check out. You can, of course, keep shopping. You could switch to another list. You could go to your exam room list, your injectables list. You could add those all into the cart by clicking the button once on each tab. And then this is where you'd be taken to again to see if you want to check out. You would click on the checkout button. You would see your shopping cart. You could review the order, make sure everything looks right. And then like any other website, click to proceed to checkout. Fill out your billing and shipping information. Hit submit. and you're done. You get an order confirmation with an order number. You would also get an email to confirm your order. It would also include the order number and the confirmation number. And again, you are all set. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over for questions. I know I went through a lot of information there. I think we answered some of the most common questions already. But at this point, I'll turn it over to John. If you want to open up the lines, we're happy to answer any questions, go through anything in more details. We appreciate
Sure.
you guys listening along.
Sure, Greg. Again, even though everyone is in a listen-only mode, you have the opportunity to type in questions, and there are a couple of questions, Greg, that I'm sure you'd be happy to answer. The first one is, if we've already placed an order, could DocShop Pro build those products into the list for us later on?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Good question. So yeah, that's another thing we can always do at any time. So let's say you've been a customer of ours for a while, you've placed some orders, or you're new, and you forgot to build the supply manager list, or you learned of it later. Absolutely. At any point in time, we can go into the account, we can pull up your order, and we can put all those products into the list for you. We actually do that a lot. I do that myself pretty frequently for accounts. So yeah, we're happy to do that at any point in time, specify and create a custom list for you.
Okay. A separate question. If we provide DocShop Pro with a list of products, do we have to request a full cost analysis, or could DocShop Pro just add those products into my supply manager and then train someone on our staff to add more later?
Sure. Yeah. Good. And another good question. So yeah, the one thing I would mention about that though is that if you send us a supply list, we definitely want like an official invoice that just shows the price. So if you're not so much concerned about the cost comparison, or if you want to do the cost comparison yourself, or again, if you've already seen on the website by searching for the product, you've seen what the price is, you like the price, you just want us to build the list for you. Absolutely. We're happy to do that. But we do, like sometimes people might handwrite one in, handwrite a list of the products that they want. We definitely want to make sure that that list includes the SKU of the exact product that you're using. Because again, with so many products on the site, we want to make sure we find the exact one you're looking for, and that's what we load into the cart, or I'm sorry, into the supply list for you. But yeah, you can always send those over. We don't have to do the full cost analysis. We do that a lot of times just to, of course, to crunch the data for you, but then that tells us exactly what products to load in. So by providing us the SKU, we can just find those products and skip the spreadsheet and just load them straight into the supply manager for you.
Great. Well, Greg, it looks like we wanted to do this within 40 minutes, and I think you've accomplished that. That was an excellent, very enlightening webinar. I don't see any other questions, but I'd like to remind everyone that this webinar was recorded. It will be distributed. But Greg, thank you so much. I think you've answered everyone's questions.
Great. Yeah, it's my pleasure. We're always happy to help anytime. Let us know if there's anything else we can do.
You bet. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a great evening, and thank you, Greg.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Take care.